time right now is 12:46, June 28th. We're just off Pointe de Îles, and you can see the waves refracting around the corner. Get a good view there of the end of the crucianary recurve ridges that come around the end of the ridge. Drapeau has suggested that it's increasing by 13.5 meters per year over the last, since 1833 to 1977. The time is 12:48. We're just flying at just 350 feet at 70 knots. And we're just beyond the main linear bar that runs offshore. The Dune complex itself is one single main dune just along the beach. And then in the back shore, there's areas of old dune ridges with substantial blowouts. To go along Pointe de Îles, it's this medium sand, and as we come to the west side, it's more of an erosional beach. It becomes more crescentic. You can see the washover channel here, a washover flat that's cut through the dune. It's very low lying and very isolated dunes. The relief is about 2 to 3 meters, and the beach itself is fairly wide. And the first dune, the first bar is about 200 meters offshore, and then we're just flying at the main linear bar. Time is 12:50. We're just taking a view looking back towards Pointe de Îles. There you get a better profile of the beach, the position of the bar, the cuspate beach, and then you get into the edge of the foredune, which is a more inclined slope, then more stabilized vegetation, marum, and then as you get into the back shore, you get into more of the stabilized and bush vegetation, and then some of the blowouts. And we're just looking south now towards Îles, and again you can see the situation. We're about 400 feet of the inner sandbar, the outer sandbar, and the beach is much more crescentic. beach is more crescentic because the inner bar is being welded to those points. And depending on when we're here, they'll be welded onto the beach, making it wider, or they may not be welded on. And there's the outer bar. The waves are breaking on the inner bar that we see right now, and we're flying just about at the outer bar. As we're coming into the Bay Clark area again, you're getting a view towards Cap Nord-Est. And you get the position, looking down at the beach here, the foredune has a much more pronounced scarp just at the top. You see the heavy minerals exposed, and they've been riding their ATCs right along the base of the scarp. Below that there is more of a sand ramp and the cuspate beach. Here the landward bar is pretty well right at the beach. It's 1350 and low tide to 1445. Actually it's 1252 right now. And we're just going along just before the main channel that goes around Cap Nord-Est. 1252, we're flying 400 feet. And you can see there's some older stabilized vegetation back by the lagoon. There's a main road that runs along the backside. Then there's a high scarped blowout farther landward. Then you move seaward to the main foredune that runs along the top or the upper beach. And then there's a sand accumulation, a new vegetation developing, new dune ridges developing. Seaward of that, the place we're just looking at, and the beach is quite wide. Now we're getting just past into the almost to the Gros Îles area, and the dune is a lot narrower, but the actual land area, the sand flat area, is fairly wide back towards where the road is. The sand dune is a linear, multiple feature, at least two ridges. It's a much more progradational, less erosional feature, and the marram grass is moderate to fairly dense. The dune is scarped at Gros Îles, and as we come up on the harbor on Gros Îles, come up on the harbor of Gros Îles, we're at 400 feet and it's 1254. This part of the shore, again, we're getting into high relief, and there's bedrock. The base is talus and rock rubble, and there's very little beach, although there's sand about 200 meters offshore, or looks to be sand. It could be bedrock. No, I think it may be sand. And then as we come to the edge of the bedrock area and join Dune du Nord, we switch into the bedrock is running sort of an angle to the coast. And there's several rock exposures in the beach. Time is 12:56, and we're just coming past Gros Îles up onto the salt mine area. The beach here can be quite narrow. It's only tens of meters wide in places, and then you'll get the main bar coming in and welding onto it, and the beach is much wider, and you'll get rips in between the welded bars going offshore. We're just going by the salt mine now. In this location, there's the main foredune that runs along shore. Some well-developed blowouts, and the relief is probably 15 meters. Just offshore, oh, and then on the landward side of the road, it's more stabilized vegetation. We're running right now at the edge of the second bar. It's very, very crescentic. The third bar is crescentic as well, and it's another couple hundred meters seaward of us. Just coming up 12:58, and we're just north of an area, a wider area. There's probably an old washover flat in the Dune complex. We're following Plage de la Pointe au Loup, and as we come across, hopefully you'll pick up the bar structure. There's a seaward bar, which you might not see for a few minutes. There's a second bar, very crescentic, and then another bar that's intermittent right on shore. A lot of times it's welded right on shore. The beach itself is pretty well developed berm. Then in the back shore, it's loose aeolian sand and sand ramp, new vegetation right at the base of the foredune, which is fairly linear. Then you've got blowouts and moderately dense vegetation cover, Marum, the road, and then more stable vegetation. And we're cutting across onto the lagoon part, which is part of Havre de la Grande Entrée. And as we come across here, we're going back, looking at that wide flat area. It possibly has some old, it does have old dune ridges in the back shore, or it may have started off as an old washover.